quick little video while I'm walking to my car here now. So maybe in the following video, or the one you've just watched, I haven't quite figured out yet where I'm going to tie it all, tie it all together. I guess what I wanted to do really was just introduce myself, kind of explain more about who I am, and maybe give you a bit of an insight really into how this mind really works. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's one that I've never really understood, but I certainly am starting to understand now. Stuff gets made up and you just go with whatever the thought is that's in your own head. So that's very much myself. So I guess as an introductory piece, I thought this is a perfect opportunity and a perfect probably location really to, I guess, kick that off. So again, I'll introduce myself in a minute and stay tuned. Please don't pass any judgment. Pass judgment if you want, maybe in comments below. I've got pretty thick skin. I hopefully won't get too offended, but anyway, if I do, I might retaliate. But anyway, whatever, if I do, again, I make no apologies, but you shouldn't either. Again, I probably should make apologies because something I've never been very good at in life is really saying sorry. But again, stay tuned and watch on here. Come back to the channel and watch a bit more. There's a lot of content coming. There's a lot that's there now. Well, not a huge amount, but there's more that certainly is coming. But stay tuned. As I've said in the video, I will say in a moment when you get to watching it, I'm here to educate, raise awareness, shine a spotlight on the very thing that's going on inside this temple of mine, or just underneath that shiny patch. I think it's on that side there somewhere, and that is the deficit that we have, and I certainly have, which is attention deficit disorder, or otherwise known as ADHD. So anyway, stay tuned. Hope you enjoy it. Watch on. Hopefully you watch to the end. I don't know, I haven't thought anything about ads or anything like that might pop up, but do whatever you need to do. Those ads, fast forward, get rid of them. All right, so enjoy, you know, the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes, who knows how long it's going to be, but enjoy that period of time and whatever it is you're about to watch. I filmed it kind of walking through this park over the last hour or so. It's just a great representation really of the spattering of thoughts and whatnot that go on inside my crazy mind. It's no different today than it ever has been. Certainly it's slowed down today, of these days. You know, hopefully find it entertaining and informative and educational, and we hope to see you again here soon. Enjoy. All right, hello everyone, how we going? It's another sunny day here in Perth, Western Australia. I'm currently standing myself at the moment, just looking back on the city there behind me, and just over this way we've got Kings Park. So I'm standing at, I guess, the top of Kings Park, one of the iconic, I guess, locations in the city. Just filling in a bit of time at the moment, so it's about quarter past 9 in the morning, or 20 past 9. Just filling in a little bit of time this morning here while I've got an appointment coming up in a moment. So my appointment is actually with my psychiatrist. So that's, well, today would probably be, I guess, 2 months in. So 2 months into my journey with meeting my psychiatrist, which is something that's, well, it's been a new phenomenon for me, for sure. Well, just to say the least anyway. So for those of you that don't know, so my name's Troy. I live here in sunny WA. There's the sun in the background, there's Perth City. There's the glorious sun there behind my head. So yeah, I live in Perth, WA. I'm 48 years of age. As recently as 2 months ago, I was diagnosed as, well, we're having ADHD. So having only found that out, I guess, 2 months ago, I guess for myself, it kind of came as a surprise, but at the same time, it wasn't really a surprise. So yeah, something that, you know, my whole entire life up until that point in time, I'd always kind of wondered and always kind of thought there was something a bit, you know, different about myself. If I go back in time, thinking back to myself as a child, you know, a lot of what I now know are the indicators. Well, mate, they were all there. So there was the stuff at school, even the, you know, the inattentiveness, the hyperactivity, the speaking out of turn, not able to sit still, constantly getting into trouble, bad memory, being impulsive, all of that, you name it, I had the whole gamut. And I guess for myself, really that has never ever really dissipated. Like, it's always actually been there. And I guess just very quickly to come to explain how I came to the realization at 48 years of age. I guess I came to that realization in, I guess, what I now understand is a pretty common way, and I came to that through the course of having a child. So I've got a son, Oscar, who's now 9, soon to be 10, and would have been, I don't know, 7, 8 months ago now. He himself, as a 9-year-old, nearly turned 9-year-old, was diagnosed with, guess what? ADHD. And it was pretty much at that point in time where I guess I'd known about ADHD, and I always kind of heard about it and thought, oh yeah, maybe that's something that means something to other people, but it didn't really mean a hell of a lot to me. Could never really see it in myself. But I guess at that point in time, when we're sitting there with my son's doctor, he did say, at the point where he was diagnosed, he did turn to me and to my wife and Annalie and also say that, you do know that ADHD is genetic, don't you, or believed to be genetic? I'm like, no, tell me more. He's like, well, there's strong evidence that it runs in families, and it's kind of it's one of those things that runs in families so much so it's, I guess it's equivalent, to use his words, it's equivalent to height, in terms of, if your parents are tall, then there's most likely you're going to be tall, and guess what, if your child has ADHD, then there's a fair chance that one of the parents might have it. And guess what, here we are, that parent, well, I guess you'd be looking at him right now. So yes, I was officially myself diagnosed 2 months ago, having, I guess, very rapidly from that point where my son was diagnosed, and we got onto a process of getting him managed and getting him kind of the support and the help that he needed to, I guess, manage his own ADHD. It was at that point where I just became absolutely focused and motivated to actually do something about myself. Now, I guess I was the classic person, again, at that age of 48. Actually, that's an interesting thing too. So the day we found out that my son did have ADHD, or he was diagnosed, or our very first consult with my son's doctor, was the day I actually turned 48. And so I've reflected on that moment a number of times, and I guess I'd probably describe it as maybe the best birthday present I've ever had, to be given that gift on my 48th birthday, that, hold on Troy, this thing that you've been looking for your entire life, to kind of, basically understand the essence of who you really are, but you've never really known. To get given that as a gift on your 48th birthday was so grateful. Anyway, so fast forward from that day, back in October last year, where we are today in June 2023. It's been a hell of a 8 months really. So I was in a holding pattern for 5 months, 6 months almost, waiting. Well, initially the struggle was to get my name even on a list. Yeah, you can only get evaluated by a psychiatrist. And for anyone, I guess, that's going through the journey or has gone through the journey, you would, I imagine, you'd be able to relate. It's bloody difficult. Filling in time, I'm heading back to my car now because I could easily get distracted and sit here talking to myself and talking to this camera, or actually, as I call it, my memory device. I could easily talk to this memory device for a hell of a long period of time and forget all about what I'm actually meant to be doing, that is getting to my appointment to see my getting to my appointment to see my doctor. So can't be late for that. So that starts, I don't know. One of the unfortunate things is about filming on this camera phone is I can't actually see what the time is, because the video record feature has hidden my clock. So anyway, slight panic for the moment, but walking back to my car now. So yeah, what do I say? So yes, today being the 20th of June, no, 19th of June, and I'm on appointment now, or visit today, number 4 or number 5 with my psychiatrist, who just happens to only be a few minutes drive from here, so that's lucky. So I can hopefully get back to my car in a second and get there fairly quickly. But yeah, so today's my 4th, probably 5th visit with him. I think we're on pretty good, we're making pretty good progress. You know, I've gone through the whole assessment process, actually. little bit later from when I first came back from my visit with my psychiatrist. And I guess I wanted to just continue the story really around my journey up until this point. But I figured while I'm still in Kings Park, I just needed to quickly talk about all these kind of obvious things that were kind of in my peripheral, in my subconscious possibly. It's a bit related to my subconscious, probably another classic case of overthinking stuff, overanalyzing and whatever, yeah, beating myself up as well. But anyway, so I'm standing in Kings Park before, and obviously in that video, part of the video where I'm talking about filming on the camera, and I can't tell what the time was, but I know I need to be somewhere. And I'm looking over here and I'm seeing a sign on this war memorial behind me here where it says, "We will remember them." And there's another message over here on this memorial saying, "Lest we forget." I guess I reflect on those two bits of subtle messaging, and I know they are there for another purpose, and that is to do with, you know, remembering soldiers and whatnot from the First World War and whatever. But I guess could be my twisted sense of humour, but I think it's kind of ironic that I'm standing here surrounded by, on either side, by two signs saying, "You need to remember, don't forget," and I'm talking to the camera about, I need to know what the time is because I need to be somewhere for my appointment, and there's messaging everywhere, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe I should really stop doing what I'm doing. The irony of the situation and the location of where I was. Troy, the messages were there all around saying you needed to be somewhere, so stop what you were fucking doing, turn the camera off and just get in your car and get to the appointment. But anyway, we made it to the appointment on time, and I thought it was worthwhile standing here. And shouldn't really laugh about these kinds of things, but hey, respect to all of those that have gone before us, did what they needed to do, or they had to do at the time. We shall always remember. Anyway, enough of that. Don't want it to become one of those types of videos. Does that happen to anyone else? Fuck me, it happens to myself. Happens very often when I think about it. Just, you know, you get caught up doing something, and there's probably something else you should really be doing, and for whatever reason, the thing that you're doing at the moment, that's more interesting, and it becomes your focus, so much so you almost screw yourself up and miss out on the more important things that you're meant to be doing, or the things that are more important to someone else potentially. And yeah, the stories of very fucking interesting minds. Anyway, at that point I'm going to press stop. I reckon we've got it there in the bag, and we shall use that, I'm sure, at some stage.